Hello and welcome to another one of my flight reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing one of two of the almost brand new REX interstate flights out of Western Australia, on what could very well be REX's most unusual flight. REX only have Boeing 737 and Saab 340 aircraft in their fleet, but we won't be flying either today, as we fly from Perth to Adelaide, but we're a little bit of a twist as we fly on a National Jet Express Embraer E190, which REX have enlisted to operate this route for them. With National Jet Express actually being owned by REX and being based in Perth, West Australia, actually operates primarily mining, aviation charter services for West Australia's resources sector. This flight is one of the first routes that REX have leveraged National Jet aircraft, but could very well be a trend in the future. So without further ado, come join me on a rather rare experience as we get to fly commercially on a predominantly mining and charter aviation aircraft. See whether REX are really a bang for buck alternative on the Perth to Adelaide route. Hello, good morning and welcome to a beautiful crisp winter's morning here in Perth. We're here at Perth Airport's Terminal 2. Only seems like a case of deja vu. We arrived last night on a Virgin Australia Boeing 737-700 flight all the way from Kununurra in the far east Kimberley region of West Australia. 3.5 hour flight makes it the longest intrastate flight in Australia, possibly the world. And yeah, that was a really great experience on the old ex-KLM 737-700. So going to be a very exciting day today. Going to be flying on the almost brand new Perth to Adelaide service with Regional Express. Do take in mind Regional Express launched both the Perth to Melbourne and the Perth to Adelaide route only a couple days ago now. So this is the second ever Perth to Adelaide service. Would have flown the first ever service, but unfortunately I was up in the Kimberley region of West Australia filming some flight reviews there. The Perth to Melbourne service is on a Boeing 737-800. So yeah, the same jet aircraft that they use on their intercapital city runs on the East Coast. What is really special about this Perth to Adelaide route is on a National Jet Express Embraer E190. If you're not too familiar with aviation here in Australia, National Jet Express is a charter aviation company based here in West Australia. They're actually owned by the Regional Express group. They provide mainly predominantly aviation, fly in, fly out charter services for West Australia's resources sector. I think they also do some work for freight companies as well. They actually have a really cool fleet. I think they've got about 20 aircraft in total. I think they've got 7 Embraer E190s. I think they've got like 9 -8 Q400s. They even got a few BAE, British Aerospace 146 still in the fleet as well. They provide freight operations. So that's really, really cool. Actually doing this flight on a bit of a whim, to be honest. REX had this unbelievable sale only a few weeks ago now. They put $99 flights from Perth to Adelaide, also $99 flights from Perth to Melbourne. Make matters even better, Virgin Australia decided to come to the party and match the price on the routes at the same time. Even better, REX, you already got a 23 kilo baggage allowance and you also get a complimentary snack and coffee and that on board as well. So absolutely no brainer to do this one. I'm gonna fly back tomorrow night on Virgin Australia's, I think it's an old Tiger Air Airbus A320, so that'll be a really cool experience as well. So yeah, flying to Adelaide for $99 on REX, flying back from Adelaide to Perth for $99 on Virgin, luggage included on both services. Even better, in a month or so time, going over to Melbourne, flying back with REX, also got a $99 flight there, going for a footy trip over there, so I'll have more REX reviews to come. Anyway, we are here at Terminal 2, which is incredibly quiet on a Sunday morning. We're the first flight out for the day. There's only a couple other REX flights this afternoon, Albany, Geraldton, Carnarvon. The flight to Melbourne is a red eye at 11:55 or something tonight. So very quiet, don't anticipate check-in will take too long. And then we'll head through security. Come and join me as we fly to Adelaide today. It should be a really cracking experience. Before we head into a rather deserted looking terminal building this Sunday morning, let's have a look at the flight route for flight ZL1212, the second ever REX flight from Perth to Adelaide. Because their flight time on this one is 2 hours and 50 minutes. However, today we're going to do it in shy under 2.5 hours. Great circle distance over the Great Australian Bight today is 2,120 kilometres. As we now head into the terminal building, just a little bit of quick information about Perth Airport. Currently the 4th busiest airport in Australia. Perth is also the 4th biggest city in Australia in terms of population. Pre-pandemic level travel has largely returned here at Perth Airport. According to the latest statistics, it was averaging around 12.1 million yearly passenger movements, of which approximately 2/3 of these are domestic and 1/3 are international. Perth Airport is split up over 4 main terminals across 2 main precincts. So you've got the old domestic side of the airport, which is these days exclusively the home of all Qantas flights, including their international services and all Jetstar domestic services. So this is over Terminal 3 and 4. Then about 10-minute drive across by road, you've got Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. T1 is the main international terminal, although it does have a domestic Virgin Australia wing. Today we're flying out of Terminal 2. T2, which is a short walk away from the main international terminal building, is Perth's main unofficial intrastate, regional and charter FIFO mining terminal. Being a Sunday morning, it's ridiculously quiet here at Terminal 2. Despite our flight leaving at nearly lunchtime, we're actually the first flight of the day out of the terminal. With REX pretty well got the whole terminal building to themselves with the absence of any mining FIFO traffic here on a Sunday. Check-in for REX can be found at the far left-hand side of the terminal building. For better or worse, whether you like it or not, everything's done the old-fashioned way here at Terminal 2. No self-serve check-in machines or bag drop facility available anywhere in the building. And just like that, we're all checked in for our flight to good old Adelaide, Radelaide this morning. Only got to Terminal 2 about an hour and 45 minutes ahead of departure. Really anticipating Terminal 2 to be incredibly quiet, and it most certainly is. In fact, I think we are the first flight out of the day. Only really a few other REX regional services to Carnarvon, perhaps Esperance later on in the day, maybe a Nexus to Geraldton as well. The only other real big flight is the REX flight, which leaves late tonight on the red eye service to Melbourne. So yeah, not really a huge amount to do now. The terminal's really quiet, not much is going to be open. But yeah, check-in itself, everything was done the old-fashioned way here in Perth. So it took about 15 minutes to be processed. Once I was finally processed, really friendly check-in agent. So yeah, that was really pleasant. But yeah, everything done here the old-fashioned way here in Perth. I'm sure once REX fully expand here in the Perth market, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they get self-service kiosks and bag drop and everything like that. So far so good. Nice relaxed Sunday morning. Enjoy not having to get to the airport too early compared to an international flight. You can see some of the Alliance Airlines Fokker 100s behind me, so that's really cool. But I think we better go through security now and come join me as we fly to Adelaide today. Should be a really good one. So welcome to airside here at Perth Airport Terminal 2, really the least of my favourite of the terminals here in Perth. Departures here all in one central area, kind of like a square little room here. No jet bridges here, no real views of the tarmac either. In terms of lounges, Alliance Airlines supposedly have a lounge, however unfortunately the Aspire domestic lounge has now closed and there's no Virgin Australia regional lounge either. Fear not, if you are after some more substantial plane spotting opportunities, perhaps you want some more options in terms of food and beverage, maybe you're flying Virgin Australia and you have access to the lounge, luckily there is a covered airside corridor that will take you to T1 domestic. I don't have much time today, so I won't be walking over there, but yeah, it certainly is doable. Just allow yourself an extra 5 or so minutes walking time each way if your flight's leaving from T2. Aside from that, there really isn't much to do here at T2 this morning. On a weekday morning, it would be absolutely a buzz with FIFO workers dressed in high vis, but this morning pretty well everything is closed except for the Relay convenience store. No coffee shop, no other side brewery, and not even Subway open at lunchtime on a Sunday. Really poor in my opinion. Bit misleading to advertise an all-day bar and 4 AM beers when it's not even open at noon. It's my hope now that REX are starting to establish transcontinental flights from Perth to the East Coast. Hopefully it's only a matter of time before they take over the lounge space once used by the Spire Lounge and start up their own regional lounge here. And just like that, it appears we have some sort of a delay on our flight over to Adelaide today. In fact, our flight over to Albany is now departing ahead of us. Some sort of issue with catering and miscommunication. I've heard it many times before. So after a quick energy drink from the vending machine, it's now time to board. At this point, we're probably already about an hour behind now, but it looks like it's going to be a very quiet flight, so hopefully we reclaim some time with a very quick boarding. Luckily, I'm able to get a proper glimpse of the jet before we get on board, so let's have a look at the information about this aircraft right here, right now. This afternoon, we're flying on a 16.1-year-old Embraer E190. First delivered to Mandarin Airlines, the regional base airline of China Airlines in Taiwan in August 2008, before it was delivered to National Jet Express in December 2021. Registration on this one is Victor Hotel, Uniform Lima Bravo. So welcome on board National Jet Express's Brazilian regional jet. There's a total of 7 of these E190s in the NJE fleet. They have a total of either 104 or 110 seats depending on configuration. Nonetheless, they're in a standard 2-2 configuration. The great thing about this is you're guaranteed either a window or aisle seat. Today I'm seated in an exit row which has an incredible amount of legroom and a fold out tray table that does slightly extend. Aside from that, you've got your usual in-flight literature pocket which contains an onboard safety card and in-flight magazine for Regional Express. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any seat map on the internet or specifications exactly about the National Jet Express seating, but NJE website does claim that their seating is generally wider with extra legroom compared to usual economy class configurations. This is to bring an extra layer of comfort for FIFO workers travelling to and from grueling rosters up at the mine sites. But today's seat certainly doesn't disappoint, almost feels as though I'm travelling in a premium economy style seat, when of course combined with extra legroom.
My name is Billy and working alongside in the cabin today is V and Karen. On the flight deck we have Captain David Kerr and First Officer Andrew King.
So without further ado, let's now push back from the gate, taxi out to the runway and take off into what is quite a lovely sunny clear winter afternoon here in Perth. Once we're firmly in the air cruising on our way over to Adelaide today, I'll then offer my thoughts on board what you can expect with National Jet Express on this REX flight across the Great Australian Bight this afternoon. And just like that, after a spectacular takeoff out of Perth this afternoon, we're now tracking through the southwest of the state en route to our cruising altitude of 39,000 feet, which will take us across the Great Australian Bight this afternoon. Definitely notice the aircraft movements are a little bit more pronounced on the Embraer compared to the bigger narrow-body aircraft such as the 737 and the A320. On today's flight, there is advertised to be a complimentary snack and tea and coffee service, but first things first, let's have a look at the in-flight entertainment options available on National Jet Express's E190s. The short answer is there really isn't any IFE available on E190. There's the in-flight magazine for REX, which I thought was a pretty good read overall. May kill half an hour of your time just having a quick little glimpse through there. But aside from that, unfortunately there is no in-flight Wi-Fi and no stream to your own device entertainment service either, unlike on the 737-800 services that are actually operated by REX themselves. Of course, however, the best entertainment, especially if you're flying on a sunny day, is going to be the scenery out over the Great Australian Bight, which I'll showcase a little bit later on. Next up, we've got the in-flight food and beverage service, which commenced shortly after takeoff. Good thing about REX is you still get a complimentary sweet or savoury snack, accompanied by complimentary tea, coffee and water. So you're certainly not going to get a hot meal or something more substantial like you might do on a Qantas flight of this duration. But to REX's fairness, what they advertise you'll get is very much what you do indeed get. If I was to describe the service, it's fairly similar to Air New Zealand domestic. You get tea and coffee just like Virgin Australia, but you also get a free small snack as well. So pretty hard to complain, especially when I only paid $99 for this flight. Anyway, let's go and check the onboard lavatory, see what that's like. Seems to have everything you need, running water and a baby change table as well, all kept very neat, clean and tidy. Thankfully, we do not appear to have any issues that the Fremantle Dockers recently had on a charter flight home from Launceston to Perth. Let's not go over that here, you can check the news to find out what really happened, but yeah, it certainly didn't sound like a very great experience for the footballers or the crew alike. Now that we're back at our seat, let's enjoy an in-flight refreshment, shall we? REX do have available for purchase soft drinks, beer and wine. No physical menu available on the NJE flight today. I just picked up a Furphy beer, which I thought was a very reasonable $8. Probably $3 to $4 cheaper than beers on a Jetstar or Virgin Australia, so hard to complain. Aside from that, going back to entertainment, I just loaded up my own device with some TV shows and documentaries. I find YouTube Premium works really good for this, as you can download plenty of content offline to watch for a flight such as today. Aside from that, as we leave the West Australian coastline aside, a couple hundred kilometres east of Esperance, we're now treated for some spectacular views as we cross the Great Australian Bight this afternoon. A slight shame it's a little bit partly cloudy out there today. It'd be absolutely spectacular views on a clear sunny day, but the views are still pretty impressive nonetheless. My recommendation when flying across to Adelaide from Perth, or indeed coast to coast to Melbourne, Sydney or possibly even Brisbane, take a seat on the left hand side of the aircraft when flying in easterly direction and a seat on the right hand when flying back towards Perth. That way you should get some great views of the stunning coastline along the way. And just like that, with less than an hour left in today's flight, with the sun slowly starting to fade, we reconnect with the Australian mainland over the Eyre Peninsula just north of Port Lincoln. It's then briefly over water again as we cross the Spencer Gulf, then briefly over the York Peninsula before we continue over the Gulf St Vincent, and where it's now time to sit back, relax and enjoy a stunning landing into Adelaide today with some amazing left hand side views of the city centre as we land into South Australian capital at sunset. And just like that, welcome to Adelaide. We're currently about 45 minutes behind schedule now. Luckily it wasn't any later, otherwise we would have been landing at dark, which would have been a shame. And to add one further delay to today's journey, it would appear they weren't sure how to operate the jet bridge to attach to an E190 here in Adelaide, so that added an extra few minutes delay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. See you next time.
And after that rather comical extra 5-10 minute delay here, they finally worked out how to get the jet bridge attached. We're finally off the plane on a cold, rather gloomy Sunday night here in Adelaide. Really is a great sight to see the MJE E190 here at Adelaide getting ready to return to Perth. Till now you rarely would have seen them beyond the state borders of West Australia, so good to see something a little bit different here in Adelaide. Despite Adelaide being a much smaller city than Perth, with an airport with about a third less traffic as well, surprisingly it's really busy here in Adelaide. I suppose it all comes down to the fact that all flights operate under the one terminal building here. Now as I walk towards the exits and the baggage carousel, and before we wrap up today's flight review with my final thoughts and verdicts, let me further offer my thoughts about this new service with REX. Really hope it takes off, no pun intended. I think REX are a really good newcomer to the Australian jet service aviation market. They've seemed to have done really well in the past 3 years since they started their East Coast intercapital city jet services. I reckon the demand and potential for further coast to coast services from Perth to Sydney or Brisbane per se are certainly a possibility. Whilst I think their entrance on the Perth to Melbourne route is certainly warmly welcomed, which happened to launch on the same day as the Adelaide service. All in all, I think REX are a pretty good all-round value-based proposition sort of airline. They're probably not going to be the go-to choice for everyday business travellers or those with strong particular brand loyalty to either Virgin or Qantas, who would probably reap all the benefits of advanced frequent flyer status to a much greater degree than REX's own relatively new in-house frequent flyer program. But for those who are perhaps a more occasional traveller who want a bit more than the bare bones experience that Jetstar offers with a back to basics all-inclusive approach, I think REX is a really good choice. And with complimentary checked luggage for each flight and free tea, coffee and water to keep you hydrated and perked up, even a complimentary snack and other refreshments available on board for very reasonable prices. I think REX do a really good job at maintaining a balance between retaining some good value added inclusions while also trying to keep prices quite low as well. The fact that I only paid $99 for today's flight all the way from Perth to Adelaide and only an extra $15 for an exit row seat has to be one of the bargains of the century in terms of Australian aviation, considering how inclusive the flight was. REX entering the Perth market with their new jet services across to the East Coast really has opened up competition in my mind as well, which is a really good thing for consumers who were really suffering with quite high prices there for a while. REX's new services to Perth are probably a really good thing for regional West Australian consumers as well, particularly those living in cities such as Albany and towns such as Carnarvon or Esperance, who are currently serviced by RPT contracts, where REX have the exclusive rights to operate the routes. So this means more seamless connections from these small regional cities and towns to the east coast of Australia, hopefully bringing prices down for them as well, because they've got no benefit from QantasLink or Virgin Australia competition. And just like that, welcome to good old Adelaide, Radelaide, City of Churches, whatever you want to call it. We're here now, it's about 5:30 in the afternoon. Sun's just gone down. Can't help but be shocked at just how cold it is. It's only about 8 degrees and it's only 5:30 in the afternoon. Bit of a shock to the system, to be honest, considering I was up in Kununurra yesterday in the far east Kimberley region of West Australia, where it was a rather balmy tropical 35 degrees. Anyway, onto this almost brand new service today with Regional Express, operated by their charter airline National Jet Express. Second ever service actually on the E190 between Adelaide and Perth. Really, it was absolutely a spectacular experience today. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. $99 was absolutely one of the bargains of the century, one of the best deals I've ever had flying. Only slight downside really was a bit of a delayed start leaving Perth today. We were about an hour behind schedule. There was a bit of a catering mishap, not being ready to replenish the aircraft. But in all fairness to the crew, they did a really exceptional job of keeping us updated, giving us frequent updates on the delay. And yeah, they were really apologetic about it as well. But anyway, by the time I boarded the aircraft, I knew this was going to be an incredibly exciting flight. E190 is definitely one of my all-time favourite aircraft. Definitely prefer flying these aircraft over 737s and A320s. So everything about this flight was really amazing, and I can't believe I only paid $99 for it. I gave back an extra $15 to purchase an extra legroom seat, which is an absolute bargain in itself, considering my flight with Virgin Australia tomorrow, they're charging $62. So yeah, the aircraft is really comfortable. The National Jet Express E190 predominantly operates charter flights in West Australia up to mine sites and that. And you can definitely tell it's a really comfortable aircraft. 2-2 configuration. Really comfortable seats as well. They're a bit wider than your average airline seats. And yeah, really comfortable. I was really worried actually about the window on the exit row being misaligned as well, but that wasn't really a problem at all. So really comfortable aircraft. Only about 50 or 60 people on board today, so probably only about half full. So yeah, that made for a really comfortable journey. Ironically, if I hadn't chosen an exit row seat, I probably would have got the seat next to me free. Once this route does get established, definitely pay your $15 to get the exit row seat. You can't go wrong. Another great thing that made this a really memorable flight, not just the scenery flying across the Great Australian Bight today, that was absolutely amazing. But yeah, that was really complemented with a really outstanding crew. So if you have enjoyed this very fun, unique and almost brand new experience that you can take with Regional Express on the good old National Jet Express E190, which is finally finding a home to itself outside the confines of West Australia, really would appreciate. Do give it a like, leave your comments down below, share it amongst your family and friends, and if you do enjoy my content, whatever brings you to my channel, flight reviews, walking tours, train reviews, aviation content, whatever it may be, if you do enjoy it, really appreciate it. Do consider subscribing to the channel, flicking that bell and notification button on so you won't miss the next one. Plenty of exciting flight reviews and content to come from this most recent travel series. In the meantime, you also visit my website, aussiejetsetter.com.au, for latest flight reviews, industry news, destination guides, frequent flyer hacks and more. You may also wish to have a look at my Aussie JetSetter Instagram page and Aussie JetSetter Shorts channel. Check out what I'm doing around the world in real time. Plenty of short form aviation content on there as well. Maybe even join my dedicated Aussie JetSetter Discord server for fans and community of the channel to discuss all things travel and aviation. That'd be really cool as well. But from here at Adelaide International Airport, thanks so much for watching today's almost historic flight review. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Until next one, safe travels, wherever that might take you.